children of the promise. In Romans chapter 9, Paul raises the question, are all descendants of Israel children of the promise? Unexpectedly, the answer is not necessarily. They're not all Israel, says Paul, who are of Israel. Verse 6. Why not? Stay with us.
There are some very interesting topics in this chapter. We established that it's all about God and what He is doing for us. But we are not passive, we are involved. We are even called to play an important role, and of course, we are quickly getting confused.
And our attention is drawn to the nation of Israel in chapter 9. Paul still feels strongly connected with his bloodline. He wants the best for them. He wants what God intended for them. However, he brings a very valid point here, a point that we very often tend to overlook, namely that God has a choice too. He chooses certain people or individuals for his own purposes. The same way he chose Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob, he did not choose Esau, for example, who is Jacob's brother, or any of the Abraham's children to be the nation that represents God on earth. This is what we read about in verse 1 to 12. And let me make a point here. We're not talking about salvation. What we're talking is about people chosen for a special role to play in their life.
Being chosen by God for a certain role doesn't mean that it comes with privileged sitting place. It doesn't make you more deserving salvation. Partnering with God is an amazing adventure and a privilege, but it's not a workout for better merits. And the lesson also points that neither are heritage nor ancestry.
Chapter 9 is also about God's choice. Think about it. Every generation in Israel knew that the firstborn is the chosen one. The firstborn will be the patriarch in the family. He's going to be the one who's going to be leading the family, and everybody will gravitate around him. But Paul says that when God chooses otherwise, nobody can change that. Although Esau was the firstborn in the family, God made him serve his younger brother, Jacob. It is not by works, concludes Paul in verse 12. It is not by works, but by him who calls.
Trusting God is a challenge, but this is the whole point. He doesn't make the best decisions in our view, but this is the point. Our corrupted nature screams otherwise, but it's all about giving up and to learn to trust and to depend on God. The lesson is about children of the promise, and it doesn't work the way we normally think that it does. The experiences that we go through, our interactions with God, they are our journey to learn and to build the relationship on a proper base.
And since Paul is talking in chapter 9 to his people, Israel, he's bringing some Old Testament material. He's reminding them of prophet Hosea, who gets married to a prostitute, as per God's instruction to do so, as an illustration of how Israel prostituted with other gods. Not only that, but the prophet is instructed to give names to his children according to God's will. And the lesson points out that the third child in the marriage has been named Lo-ami, which means not my people. Paul continues his thoughts further on in the chapter, and with the help of some other passages, this time from the book of Isaiah, he introduces the notion that there will be, or there is, a remnant that will be saved out of this big crisis.
God longs to call us his people, but many times we rather be our own.
Finally, I want to go back to the title and ask the question, who are really the children of the promise? And there is only one answer that comes to my mind: those who have received the promises of God. Who are those who have received the promises of God according to Paul? Verse 30 gives the answer. The Gentiles who did not pursue righteousness have obtained it, a righteousness that is by faith. And Paul clarifies further on, the people of Israel, they did not obtain their goal. Why? Because they pursued it not by faith, as if it were by works. It could not be clearer than that.
It's a stumbling stone. Jesus is a stumbling stone, a rock of offense. It goes against our natural inclinations. But what a powerful experience it is when we bring everything to Him.
The next lesson is about the elect.